As 2016 draws to a close, we would like to take a moment and look back at some of the major headlines from this year. ABC 7's Christopher Brantley is joining us now with more on that. Christopher.
Well, good evening, Haley. Every year we compile a list of the biggest stories that we felt were making most headlines around the Suncoast. Unlike some years, this year we had a lot to choose from. Sunday, January 17th, 3:30 a.m. The Suncoast was awoken by alerts of major tornadoes.
But this is the area that is now we believe to be the tornado on the ground heading off to the northeast.
3 tornadoes touched down and began ripping through parts of the Suncoast, the first tornadoes in our area in years. Siesta Key had major damage. Apartment buildings were evacuated. But the worst damage was undoubtedly in Duet, where a husband and wife were killed while protecting their grandchildren from the winds.
They were 2 of the best people. Steve and Kate would do anything. Steve did everything and anything for any neighbor, anytime.
Their son was injured, but in a glimmer of hope, an online GoFundMe account helped raise money for medical bills. Number 6. Florida hadn't been hit by a hurricane since 2005, but this year our luck ran out.
Manatee County dealing with a lot of flooding from what was Tropical Storm and now Hurricane Hermine.
Hurricane Hermine struck in September, killing 1 and doing more than $1 billion in damage statewide.
In the matter of an hour, things went from clear skies and just flooding to a lot of rain, a lot of wind.
Homes were left flooded on the barrier islands and throughout Bradenton. Erosion on Minnesota Key left some homes teetering over the Gulf. Only 1 month later, Hurricane Matthew hit our state as a Category 4 storm. The Suncoast was flooded in a different way, with evacuees seeking refuge. Number 5. Help for the homeless stagnates. After years of debate on building a homeless shelter, negotiations between the city of Sarasota and the county broke down. This year's point-in-time survey showing the homeless population increased by nearly 400 people. And yet, there is a glimmer of hope. The Quality of Life program at the Salvation Army helped more than 350 homeless transition into permanent housing.
This is a great thrill for me, that this happened so quickly. And even though I'm opposed to the city, I am very grateful to them for providing all this for me.
Number 4. It was the shot heard around the world. In August, 73-year-old Punta Gorda resident Mary Knowlton was allegedly shot by an officer during a citizens training exercise. Witnesses tell us the officer in question in last night's shooting was wearing a disguise. The firearm Officer Cole used was meant to be fake. However, it was real and loaded. Several shots rang out and Knowlton fell to the ground. A witness to the shooting said it changed her view on life.
How quickly things can change. Split second, and lives are over.
The Knowlton family settled with the city for $2 million in damages. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement investigation is still ongoing with Officer Cole on administrative leave. Number 3. It was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history by a single gunman. The Pulse Nightclub shooting claimed the lives of 49 people.
We're also learning that at least one of the victims in the shooting was indeed from Sarasota.
Eddie Sotomayor was known as a fun, energetic, and kind young man. He was killed while hiding in the nightclub as the gunman rained terror.
Every time I think of Eddie Sotomayor, I will think about how much fun he was. People really, really loved Eddie.
A candlelight vigil was held in his honor at 5 Points Park in downtown Sarasota. Thousands of people paid their respects. Number 2, the heroin epidemic. Manatee County continues to be the overdose capital of Florida for yet another year, with at least 75 fatal overdoses. But something has changed. More users are now overdosing on synthetic forms of heroin, such as fentanyl. Variations of that drug, known as analogs, have become more widespread. 33 people in Manatee overdosed on carfentanil, an elephant tranquilizer, estimated to be 10,000 times more potent than morphine. But there is hope. Narcan, a drug that reverses the effects of an overdose, is being carried by more agencies than ever, and a new law co-sponsored by Vern Buchanan will provide $1 billion in federal funding to combat the opioid epidemic. And finally, the top story of 2016, the election. It was the year of Donald Trump. From his first arrival in Sarasota like nothing we've ever seen, landing in a helicopter with an elephant waiting for him.
He just left the stage out here and left this crowd energized. Sarasota has been good to Donald Trump.
Trump returned on the eve of the election.
When we win tomorrow, we are going to drain the swamp.
And on November 8th, the Suncoast handed him a victory. Boosted by that enthusiasm, almost every elected position on the Suncoast was swept by Republicans.
And while some of the past year was pretty rough, there were glimmers of hope. In response to the hurricanes, the Department of Housing and Urban Development is providing $58 million of relief money in Florida. And as for the Pulse nightclub shooting, local filmmakers are working on one of 49, Revolution of Love, honoring the life of Eddie Sotomayor.
Christopher, thank you for that recap. And of course, those are some of the stories. We have many more that didn't make the list. We'll be back with those with members of our ABC7 team when we return.